Hey everyone, and welcome to the Committed Lifestyle Podcast. I'm your host Jody, and each week we're going to be diving in deep, covering all things that help you step up your game, master your mindset, and help you commit to creating the life you desire. So if you're ready for that, let's get started. Hello. All right, we are back in action for another episode. And I just want to, really thank you guys for joining me each and every week. It just means absolute world to me to have you be a part of this with me. So today, I'm really excited to share with you 5 steps to prepare for the new year. I don't know about you guys, but I swear Thanksgiving was just here. Christmas is coming faster than I want it to, and my to-do list just keeps growing. It can be so overwhelming at times, and I'm sure you're feeling it too. So, how can we prepare for the new year and make sure we tie up this year with a bow? I'm going to share with you guys exactly what I do to make sure it happens, and this all happens through careful planning and preparation. These are super simple steps I'm going to give you guys. But first, we need to talk about creating space. Creating space for yourself in order to have the things in place that help you work most efficiently and feel accomplished is really, really, really important. It's actually the most important thing we can do once we know what our goal is. We must really just schedule in the time for these steps that we need to take in order to make that goal a reality. But you know what? You might not know what your goal is yet, and that's okay. You can still follow this, and it will help you get more organized and just a lot less overwhelmed. Does that sound good? All right, so let's do this. Step number 1. What are you working on right now? This is how I start my prep for the new year. I sit down and I take inventory of everything I'm working on right now. And this not only helps me feel so much more organized and a lot less overwhelmed, but it also helps me take my first step. Knowing what you're working on right now helps you be able to make more decisions around these 2 things. 1, what you want to continue working on, so the things that are productive for you and your business. And 2, what you don't want to continue working on, the things that are not productive for you and your business. This should really only take you about 15 minutes to do this activity. It doesn't take long, and you might want to write it down and look at it and then come back to it a day later and just make sure that those things that you said you do or don't want to continue with, that's actually really how you feel about it. It might take a couple days to let it absorb and just really think about it. So make sure you give yourself that time too if you're not 100% positive. You can use a notebook. There's actually a really cool online tool called Workflowy. You guys check it out. I just found it the other day and it's really cool. And you can also use sticky notes. It's really easy. I am a notebook kind of girl, but I like visuals in every single area possible. So I'm using all 3 of these. But if you're going to use sticky notes or notebook, you want to break it into 3 different sections for your tasks. And these are tasks that are reoccurring, one time, or ones that you want to delegate. In Workflow, you can do the same thing. You can just really kind of make it your own and get on there and see if you like it. Okay, step number 2. What should you be working on right now? This is where, we really get to start thinking about our goals. Once you've taken inventory and you have all of it in front of you, all the things you're working on right now, you really have to ask yourself some tough questions. The first one is going to be, of the things you're working on right now, what should you be working on right now? There's things that you should be working on that are going to get you to, one step closer to your goals. And there's going to be things that you're working on that aren't necessarily getting you there that should be the priority. And that's okay. It's okay if you want to just take those off your plate right now and put them to the side, because you can just pick them up when it's time to pick them up. It might feel like a priority, but when you really look at the big picture of your goal, you might find out that thing that you're working on isn't exactly what you should be working on. So now, if you don't know what your goals are yet, you can try out a couple different things. You can Write out your perfect day. And then once you know what your perfect day looks like, you can start to put onto there what these things are that will help get you there. You could create a vision board, and that'll help you kind of lay out what your life wants to look like. And again, you'll see where you want to be, and then it might be a lot easier to help you, put in those things that will help you get there. You could make another list of the things you want to accomplish in the next year. And that might be some really good ways to help you set some goals for yourself if you're just not sure what it is you want to accomplish coming into this new year. All right, so now that you have a list and you have these things that you're working on, you've got a pretty good idea of what you want to accomplish. Okay, so step 2, just make sure you ask yourself the question, what should you be working on right now? All right, step number 3, prioritize. By this time, you're going to be feeling a lot more organized and a lot less overwhelmed. I know that I always feel like that because I no longer have all these ideas floating around in my mind or kind of really just an unrealistic picture of what I'm currently working on. And it really helps me see what I should be working on, not just those things that pop up last minute or what I think is a really good idea. So I still have several things on my list. I might have, like 10 to 15 recurring tasks that I work on weekly. I've got a couple major projects that I'm really wanting to focus on, and these things will help me get closer to my big goals. So we have to prioritize that. And of those reoccurring tasks, you have to identify which ones need to be done daily, weekly, every other week, every month, because when you kind of just slap it down on paper, that can feel really overwhelming. But when you lay it out and say, okay, well, these are my reoccurring tasks, but these ones are only monthly, these ones are bi-weekly, maybe this one is weekly, and then here's the things that are daily. You might find that your daily things, when you see that, it might only be, 3 things that you have to do daily, and that's manageable, right? So just make sure you lay that out so you can see that overall picture, and that'll really help lessen overwhelm. It'll help you, take things in little bite-sized chunks. And when you're writing out your schedule, you'll know where to be placing these things, so that certain weeks when you have a task that maybe is a monthly thing, you need to budget in a little extra time to be focusing on that, and a little less time in things that might just be like personal to-dos. Maybe you can't meet with a friend that week for coffee or whatnot because you need to get this monthly task done. So just make sure you're organizing that, you lay it out, because you want to be able to visually see that as you're doing this. Okay, so now that you know what your reoccurring tasks are and all that stuff that we just went through, I like to put them in order. So if I'm ever in a position where I have the option to work on something, I know what I'm going to choose first. I'm not just going to choose to go through my text messages or my emails or something. I've got my priority list, so I know, what my best next move is. If I've got some free time that opened up for me, I finished something early, I'm just in a little space where I could get a little bit more done. Okay, so step 4 is to schedule it. But let's just kind of recap really quick what we went through. So far, we've taken inventory on everything we're working on. We have figured out our goals, and I like to set SMART goals. If you're not sure what those are, I did a podcast episode on SMART goals, and I'll actually link that in the show notes. So if you want to listen to that, I'll link it to you, and you guys can go back and check it out. But we want to have those goals so we can easily separate those tasks that we should be working on from the ones that we should not be working on. And then 3, we got prioritized. So we figured out what is our priorities. Okay, so now it's time to create a schedule for ourselves that we can stick to, and a schedule that's going to help us set up to work most efficiently and just really feel accomplished. So there's a couple different ways you can go about this, and I can't tell you what is going to work best for you. I know a lot of people will time block an entire day or quote unquote theme their days. And I have done this, and it actually works really, really good for me. It's still a new habit that I'm trying to move into a little bit more, but I'll explain kind of what theming is. So you are basically going to if you, let's say you record a podcast, you want to try to batch record that day. So, you want to get 2, 3, 4, 5 podcasts recorded. So then you have your next month of episodes done. You can edit them, schedule them, and then boom, you're done with that. That was your theme for the day. If you do a lot of stuff on social media, you might have a content creation batching day, and that's your theme. So you try to get all your posts done for the month. Maybe it's all your posts done for the week. And you take that time and and that is what you focus on. So this way it kind of keeps your brain in line with one thing that you're accomplishing and not trying to go from task to task to task that are maybe not exactly work together. Even though they all work together, it might not exactly be something that kind of goes hand in hand in keeping your mind in that really creative space. So now that is one way you can do it. If you have a very full life and there is only little time chunks that you need to get a lot of stuff done at once. Now, this is kind of how I roll, and it works for me. Again, I'm moving into this time batching more, theming days more, but I'm not fully there yet. So I kind of bounce back between the two based on how much time I have. So the other option you could try, and again, you have to find out what works best for you, is you will time block. So I'll take an hour time block and I'll put a timer on for anywhere from 30 to 50 minutes. But I take this hour and I will only do one thing. Now I might have several things to do, but in that hour, I only work on one thing. So I will set a timer for 30 minutes. I will work on, let's say recording a podcast for 30 minutes. And once I finish recording, I'm going to stand up, take a little break, walk around, get some water, and then sit back down and finish out those 30, it's like 27 minutes now left that I finish. I edit it, I get it done, boom, that's done, checked off my list. Okay, thing number 2 that I might need to bounce to is I might need to be doing Instagram engagement, making a post, working on content, maybe something in that realm of social media. So again, next I take this next hour and I do as much social media stuff that I can. So a lot of like working on content creation and whatnot for that hour. Again, I like to do things. I like to split up that hour because I need to get up, stand around, move around, and just kind of take a quick little breath. So again, timer goes off for 30 minutes, and I get up, stand up, maybe a couple high knees or something, take a sip of water, whatever, have a snack, and in less than 5 minutes, I'm back down in my chair and I'm reworking for the remainder of that hour. And now then I'll just kind of keep moving on. Let's say I didn't finish something and I really want to. Well, then I will move into that next hour and getting that thing done. And that just works really good for me. And then I start over a fresh hour on the next priority that I need to get done. So, that might be running an errand. You need to go meet someone. You've got a meeting. And so not everybody's lives, we don't have the same lives every single day. As much as we're in routine, we're not in routine. So we just need to make sure we can be flexible and plan accordingly. You might have a day where you are at home all day long. And so you can time block the snot out of the day, or you can theme the day and get so much done. But you know what? You might have a job and you only got an hour, 2 hours to work at the end of the night. Well, you need to know what you're working on and you need to know how long you're working on it. So just remember those little things as you're going in to schedule out your day. Okay, step number 5, follow your plan. So sometimes it's not so much choosing a goal or even taking the time to get organized that keeps us from accomplishing what we want. It's usually following through with a plan we've just put into place. That is usually what crumbles around us. And that is usually why a lot of us don't get our goals done. We don't accomplish them. So the final step is actually to follow the plan you've just created. Sounds like common sense. I know. I think so too. But, a lot of us don't accomplish our goals and we wonder why. Well, it's usually this. So if you've done all these last 4 steps that we talk about, then you literally have a plan in place to help you achieve your goals heading into the new year. So now it's just all about taking action, holding yourself accountable to do what you said you want to do. And that is usually the hardest part. And you guys, that is what a coach is for. That's what having accountability partner is for. That's what's just being super disciplined is for, and reminding yourself each and every day what your goal is. And last but not least, that is making sure you know what your plan is going into the next day. I could talk so much more about, scheduling in your day the night before, and things like that. But that is just so huge in all of this. But I gave you guys a lot to go over in order to be prepared for the new year. And I really hope that added some value for you for 2020 and for ending this year strong. I just really want you to try to tie up things with a nice little pretty bow, and make sure you give yourself some love and kudos for what you have accomplished this year, because you're doing amazing. And I just want you to know that. So if you're as serious as I'm about setting your goals, then you will go through this little 5-step process. And you guys, if you like this episode and you got some value out of this, I want to hear how you're doing. I want to know if you're, going through these 5 steps. I want to know how it's going for you. Fill me in, let me know. You guys can find me on Instagram, Facebook, my newsletter if you're subscribed to it. And I just love hearing from you guys. So don't be shy. And that is all I have for you today. And like I always say, we've only got one life to live, so let's make it amazing. Until next time, you guys, much love to you.